Return to Glory podcast. Hunter Zarbanicki, Austin Rose, Dakota Freetag, season 7 finale, wrapping up our 7th year of the podcast. And we got a lot to talk about. Basketball, football, baseball, softball, all the likes here in Husker sports. I think the biggest, hottest topic is basketball season coming to a close. Losing to, dare I say their name, I don't even think I'm going to, down in Houston. I went down to the game, made the drive on Wednesday, got down there Thursday morning. Was not OKC level, but still very, very impressive turnout. Houston's laid out very differently than OKC is. And then we all know by this point how the game ended up in the Sweet 16.
Dak, how long did you wait before you checked in on Hunter?
I don't think I texted him that night. I might have.
I didn't either. I didn't text anyone that night. I didn't want to talk to anyone.
No, I did. I texted him. He said everyone there is just so sad walking out of the stadium.
As they should be.
I don't know that I said sad. I think more pissed off was what I said.
You called it, Austin, though. You were worried about Iowa. I was not. I was not. And I think
I had us losing by 7 and we lost by 6. So
yeah, I can see why you were scared now. It sucks.
I still, to that point, whether you play Florida or Iowa, I still think obviously for the sake of winning the game, playing Iowa.
You would rather play Iowa.
But the feeling of what happened after the game was exactly what we didn't want to happen, was having this miraculous season come to an end at the hands of the Iowa Hawkeyes. That, historically best season ever in Nebraska basketball, yet the team just to the east of us that claims they have better corn steps in our way. Not a 27-5 Iowa Hawkeye team, that top 10 team, a 9 seed that caught fire here towards the end of the year, and takes game 3 from the 3-game series that we had with them here this year.
It was really more of how it went down. It was a game that we started out as well as we could have started in Iowa also. I shouldn't say that because Iowa also started out incredibly warm in their shooting. But we got up 10 early and we held on to a lead for most of the game. And then the 3-point shot disappeared. And then it just fell apart in the last 3 minutes. And then, of course, the 4-person on the court for the easy dunk for the 5-point lead, 6-point lead. I don't remember what it was.
With the and one, yeah, the free throw made it 6.
The and one, yeah. It was really just how it happened. If we lost in a competitive game, it was a competitive game, but it was more of us just falling apart. It wasn't like Iowa was doing anything incredible. We were doing anything incredible. It was just the wheels fell off and we did not recover. And the last 10 seconds of the game was just, a perfect encapsulation of how the second half went. Was when we shot 6 times and we basically bricked every 3-pointer.
Yeah, we're recording on Tuesday night, so the game's 5 days out already, and it took me a couple of days to kind of get myself to go back and say, no, this season was a good season, and really celebrate and enjoy the success that we had. Best season in Nebraska basketball history. But it stung. It did sting for a couple of days. Now talking about it again is
digging up those old feelings,
digging all that back up after I finally got myself over it. It hurts.
Yeah, and I don't know about you guys, but I was kind of over it by Friday. Saturday came around, and I saw Illinois Iowa playing. I'm like, God damn! I wish we were playing in this game.
I didn't watch a lick of basketball for basically 3 days. I didn't know who made it to the Final Four until Monday morning when I logged into my work computer and looked on ESPN. That's how it stung, man. Yeah.
What's weird watching that Illinois Iowa game and all the Final Four games, obviously this year we were in a position to play in those, and we're in that conversation where we've never been in our lives. Always March Madness in the tournament is something in America that is one of the most watched sporting events, and everybody enjoys it, right? This year was different for Husker fans because we actually were in the conversation. So you're right. Like I still watched the games this weekend, the second ones, and enjoyed them, and as a basketball fan, but it was in the back of your mind that, man, like we were that close to playing in this game and having a completely different perspective of March Madness. And we did. I mean, we were in the Sweet 16, right? It was still a very, very awesome experience, and one that we've never had before. But at the same time, it makes you the what if cards up there. The what if,
The what if card. What if? I mean, not gonna lie, that Thursday, I was dreaming. I was like, we could beat Iowa. Then, if we play Illinois, we've beaten Illinois. And then all of a sudden you're in the Final Four and anything can happen. The wheels, it started running a little bit.
Let's just say in the car ride on the way down with my dad, we had a debate on if Nebraska were to win the national championship, would this be more impressive than the Kurt Signetti Indiana turnaround? That was the conversation for 15 or 20 minutes. That we had, obviously long car ride, but yeah, we were dreaming. Like we were, okay, there's 4 games here. Like we who knows the way we play? Who knows?
What's crazy about it, guys, is it's Nebraska basketball that makes you feel this way, like this sad or whatever, and not Nebraska football. Like never in our lives have we had this. People are still talking about the game 5 days later, like, man, Frank messed with his threes, whatever. Like you're still hearing, and it's not just us, it's like people all around town and all the friends stuff still talking about that game. It's crazy. It's Nebraska basketball that did that.
Yeah, I mean, do we need to talk about the specifics of the game where ranked Mass just went absolutely ice cold behind the 3-point line?
I don't need to. I mean,
okay.
That's the game, like you said, we started off really well, and I give credit to Ben McCollum in Iowa. Like he's a very good basketball coach.
Hopefully he's gone.
One of the best in the country. Dak says he's gone. Is he actually
he's
gone?
Not gone.
No, hopefully he's gone. I hope he goes to North Carolina.
Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere. He's an Iowa Midwestern guy at heart. I think he's staying. And he's a really good coach. Like, and he got the most, just like Fred got the most out of our guys at several points throughout this year. I think that was 2 very good basketball coaches that, no, we didn't have the stars and the athletes that a lot of these other Final Four teams do. And we were able to make the most of what we had. Iowa did the same thing. It just sucks that, again, the opponent is the one that we can't. Every sport, they're so similar to us, and probably, I shouldn't say probably, they have less resources than we do financially overall. Like they're right next door. Like they're a rival for us. I was telling some people this too. The shittiest part about all this, and they're asking, were Iowa fans snarky, and were they rubbing it in your face, and like as it was a rivalry game and all that? I'm like, no, they weren't, because they just kick our ass and everything, and we're not even really their number one rival. We always say, oh, we hate Iowa now, right? Because we don't play Oklahoma, we don't play Texas, we don't play Colorado year to year in all these sports.
They still play Iowa State. Yeah. Iowa still plays Iowa State every year.
Iowa State, Iowa, Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota,
Wisconsin.
These other rivals that are like a bigger deal because the series with them and everything is so much more competitive. That's what's funny is after the game, it wasn't even like if Nebraska fans, if we would have beat Iowa, yeah, we're Nebraska nice. We would have been just rubbing it in Iowa's face about how we beat them. Mm-hmm. Iowa fans didn't care. They're like, yep, we just beat Nebraska because we're going to beat them in everything we do. That's the part that it makes you laugh a little bit. And it's like, God damn, this just sucks.
And the part that really sucks too is, which I don't know if it's better or worse. You walk away from that game. I don't know how you guys felt about it. I thought Nebraska did not play that bad. They still lost.
No, Iowa didn't lead until 3 minutes left in the game.
No, which we'll get into that. The reason when Nebraska went to shit is they showed Matt Rule on the TV, and that's when it went downhill.
Stay the hell away. Stay away from our program, Matt Rule.
like that's no joke. When they showed him, I think Iowa went on a 15-5 run after that, and that was the end of the game.
Shocker.
But yeah, he needs to get away from that. But yeah, just think, and it's the reason why they lost again is because Rank Mass in his threes, and Sam Hoiberg went cold too. But everybody else played well, I thought, and it just sucks that
Dak, you kind of said that very bluntly. At the reason why we lost was Rank Mass. Like there's obviously several parts of the game that determine the outcome. No, Rank didn't have his best game. I think Bennett Sturts hit some shots, and some people are just saying at the end of the game, what did it come down to when it was tied up with 4.5 minutes to go or 3.5 minutes to go? Iowa goes 4 out of 5 their next 5 threes, and we go over 6. Like, no, it doesn't just simply come down to who makes or misses shots, but at the same time, at that point in the game, that's what happened. And it wasn't like we were getting uncontested or contested looks. Like, we were getting some decent looking shots, and we just weren't making
them. They just weren't getting on
it. And I will say those last few minutes, Iowa, that they just, I could just tell the way they were moving the ball. They finally broke through the Nate Lenzer scheme on defense, and they were able just to get any open shot they wanted to there in that second part of the second half. And that's where it was just hard. It just was cringy. Like, Iowa fans were outnumbered, 4-1 by Nebraska fans, if not 5-1 there in that arena.
It sounded loud.
And those Iowa fans got very loud, obviously, as they should. And that was the hardest part, was sitting there and as everything was just spiraling away from us, absorbing that all in. And then, just I've been on road games where I've come home from a lot of losses, so I'm used to that part of it. But like you said, Austin, kind of the way it happened, how we led for 90 to 95% of the game, and ended up just falling apart at the end. It hurts.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it was really bad. And another thing we talked about, again, the refs called the game evenly between two teams, but the way in which the game was called was not favorable to our style of offense. So that which honestly, the game went so quick. It was a fun game to watch, and part of that was because they were letting them play it, but it doesn't benefit the team who's less physical.
Yeah, when the fourth
offense
foul and a half was called with like 4 minutes left or 3 minutes left, we looked at the scoreboard. I was like, holy crap. Like, it did. It just flew by, and I agree. I thought the refs did a much better job this game than they did against Vanderbilt. The Vanderbilt game was just inconsistent and choppy. It didn't feel like the refs were in the way at all this game. It just was officiated. And I do think, when you get to the NCAA tournament and the NBA playoffs, and I mean, hell, go to football too. You want to let the players decide the outcome. Obviously, there's an extent where you cross the line and are quote unquote breaking the rules. But I thought the refs officiated the game very well, and they just got enough of us, with the physicality standpoint that it bothered us. So
sucks. Still looking back on it the last couple of days, what a hell of a season.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I know we say you're sulking on Iowa. I think we have to take a step back, given this is our last episode of season 7 for the podcast here, and just appreciate this year for what it was. I mean, basketball is a very long season. You start at the end of October, early November, and you finish up here at the end of March. Just an incredible ride, and what this team was able to accomplish. I will be the first one to admit myself that I thought this team was not going to be very good, and I thought this was the end of the Fred Hoiberg era. I really did. Just looking at our roster, what it was made of, I didn't expect. I knew Sanford could play. I didn't expect what Price came in and did so quickly for us. I think obviously all these players, the contributions they made were above and beyond not just what I expected, but I think what everybody expected with this team. Obviously, picking to finish 14th in the Big Ten. So like it's one of those things that you really got to appreciate the standard, or the new level of standard that they're setting for the future, and hopefully that leads to some brighter years ahead here in the near future.
This team
Uh,
will be the team that Austin tells his kid about.
Probably. Come here, Sam. I've got to tell you a story about. Um, no. I saw it. So we lost 7 games to 5 teams, and 4 of those teams made it to the Elite Eight. I mean, that's as far as it goes. Like that's a pretty good year to only have 7 losses and to 5 teams, but 80% of them making it to the Elite Eight. That's pretty freaking good. And we were right there. I mean, we could have been in the Elite Eight. So I'll be interested to see, how this success carries over. Is this a product of having just a group of guys that it works? Is this, has Fred finally figured out the secret sauce, or is it just that one year that everything worked out? I don't know.
And I will say that's a big thing. I think, especially with teams like this, you mentioned that things clicked and things, quote unquote, worked out. I do think having the right mix of players in the locker room, the dynamic amongst the team, take all of the on the court stuff out of it. I think that matters a lot more than people really realize. Today's world is all about recruiting and the talent and all of this stuff, the transfer portal. Like, if you can get the right mix of guys mentally and emotionally playing together and doing exactly what you're trying to accomplish, it can really make a big impact. And I think this is a definition of that team. Now, did you figure out to your point, Austin, did we figure out what that was, or was it luck? You hope it wasn't luck, and we can build this same thing and start then adding maybe some pieces too that have even more talent. And that's where you can become a consistent tournament team and a consistent top 25 team in basketball, which obviously we have never been anywhere close to that.
Don't you wish that we brought all of our recruits to the Oklahoma game? Just be like, hey, just come watch that road environment. If you're interested.
That's another thing is all these recruits are watching. They're like, man, that was a cool atmosphere and everything. And it sounds like, which they should do this, they should take away all the football money. Who gives a crap about them anymore? But it sounds like Troy Dannon is wanting to throw more money into the basketball team. And I think it's going to stick around. I mean, look what we got coming back. We got Siege and Frager. Well, you hope Frager. Sanford, you hope.
Yep.
I think Sanford's pretty much locked, but Frager is the big one. Keep him. And then, build from there.
I'm gonna say it.
Go ahead, Austin.
I'm good with the Siege and leaving. I don't need a guy recording everything. I don't know. I get the ick.
I'm with you a little bit.
I don't know. It's a weird influencey thing.
I think the one thing that you have to keep in mind with all of this portal stuff and NIL and money, like, it's still a big world of unknown. And so you want to lock people in on staying because they like it here, or lock people or say people they're leaving because of whatever reason, right? I'm not going to ever try to predict that, because there's so much going on and so much unknown, and everybody has different values on what they believe is important to them. I've seen, Frager on social media, people are saying, no, he's probably staying now based on some of the comments and the way he's wording certain things. Price obviously has the NBA draft to consider and where that puts him there. I even heard someone today talk about what if North Carolina comes in and gives him a bag that's twice the size of ours, right? Like, does that matter? Like, maybe not. I don't know. You're right that it sounds like the number that I've heard, doubling our basketball funds capacity, whatever that means, from 4 to 8 million. I think that money comes from 2 places: the rev share money, which isn't a big piece of that. That's part of it, but of the 20 million revenue that every athletic department receives, they can allocate that out to their different programs. And basketball is the second most after football, but there's a fine line of how that all goes. I don't think you can just obviously take 18 million of it and say, here you go, basketball. Like, that's not going to happen. So that's part of it. And then
also just don't know how well that translates to success.
You don't at all. And then the NIL piece is the other side of things, and all the deals that are coming through. And there's right now a lot of stuff going on the back behind the scenes with the College Sports Commission, the CSC, and the 18 players from Nebraska that are, saying they didn't get paid, whatever. So there's stuff there that has dynamics and everything as well. So there's a lot going on when it comes to who's coming back and who's leaving. The transfer portal for basketball does open on April 7th and is open for 2 weeks. So that's going to be here in a week. And we're going to have a really good idea on the type of players that we're going to be getting to come in. I would hope that what Austin said about the things clicking and the core staying together, that's going to have a bigger influence on a lot of these players than people realize, because of the success that we had in wanting to return and sustain it or take it to the next step. You hope that that's the case. That's obviously every Huskers fan's hope. If North Carolina comes in and offers Price Sanford 3 times the amount of money to go play at North Carolina, I don't know that we're going to have a big answer for that. So I think that's all things to consider when thinking about this. It makes it fun, though, that we're in that conversation. And you're right. If you're a player and you're trying to decide between, let's just throw out a random ACC school, Clemson or a Nebraska, and you just watch what Nebraska did in the NCAA tournament versus what Clemson did, right? And you're deciding between the two schools and they're both going to pay the same amount of money. Yeah, the fan base and the support that you saw in OKC, Houston, all that, you think that has to make a difference from a player standpoint too. So,
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, Fred's been doing this for 7 years, and this is really the only his second year of success. And
that's what's hard, right?
He's had a lot of duds, like we had the 5-star recruits and that did not work out. We had the offensive transfers that didn't work out. We just happened to land on Price, who Fred's been kind of working with since he was like a 10-year-old, because he's from Iowa and he was at Iowa State and did all these coaching camps and offered him at Iowa State. And Sam, who's his son, it's just like, I don't know.
Did things just come together? And we're not sitting here and saying Fred Hoiberg's a bad coach, but
no.
We were all to the point. I mean, I was to the point definitely that ready to move on, like try something different. Things were not working. It was very stale. I don't think this is a case where you should go out and say to everybody, yeah, this is why you got to give somebody 7 years to turn a program around. It takes time. It's not the case at all, right? Like this is an anomaly, I think, of what happened in a coach's life cycle, where there wasn't much pressure on him in the first few years because of the program and who we were. There wasn't. You could fail like we did and be like, all right, well, I guess we're seeing progress. I don't know. And so, yeah, I mean, props for the program staying on and sticking with them, because it ended up paying off now eventually. I do think a lot of that, too, had to deal with the people that Fred surrounded himself with his staff. And then obviously, like you said, Austin, some of the players that he was able to get in and the connection he made with them, which is all part of learning as well. So again, props to Fred. Is Fred a top 10 coach in the country? No. Like I saw the Sweet 16 coaches ranking. Someone went through and ranked all the coaches, and Fred was like, I think 13 of 16, right? Like I think that's probably about right. I was looking at the guys ahead of him. I'm like, yep. Like they're all better coaches in my mind. But what Fred did this year was pretty amazing, given the pieces that we had.
Here's one good thing to come away from that game for people staying is that sting from losing that game will make Frager and Sanford want to come back, I think, and come back and let's go kick Iowa's ass or whatever. And there's one more thing about Fred Hoiberg. He's, unlike the football team, he's not full of shit like a football coach is. He will tell you how it is. He's not just going to be like, oh, it's roses and whatever, however you say it. Daisies over here, whatever. He tells it how it is, and I think players see that. Matt Rule is so full of shit, but we'll get to him later. But I think Hoiberg will tell it how it is, and players respect him for that.
I mean, is Hoiberg gonna get a statue at PBA?
Maybe.
I think he definitely could. I mean, I think if we fall off and there's duds coming the next couple of years, that might change things. But I mean, it as far as what we were able to do in the storyline that went along with the tournament drought, even just getting that first win was pretty incredible. We'll see. I've heard that too. It's kind of funny, but with
I mean,
kids too.
we just extended him what, 5 years, 4 years. So
Yep.
you really hope this wasn't just the not to compare the football program, but the Matt Rule starting at 5-1 and then getting a big extension because Penn State job opened up.
Right. Last thing we'll do on basketball here. Favorite moment for the year, Austin. I'll let you go first.
Oh, it'll be the first game in Oklahoma City. The first tournament win, for sure.
Oh,
I mean, that's like an all-time. That's like probably my favorite Husker fan moment.
one of the best moments of my life, not even just Husker fan moments of the year, was the Vanderbilt end of the Vanderbilt game when Frager hit that layup and then mixed in with the guy missing the shot by like in half a centimeter. Mixed in with all that and then the celebration after easily. I told Hunter this and I truly believe it. I don't think I'll go to anything more fun in my life than that game.
I hope we do. Hopefully, we get to the Final Four in the Natty title and something. Yeah, obviously, I think those are the two answers, common answers. I mean, I think just other ones to throw out there just to relive them again in your minds. That Oklahoma Sioux Falls game. Dak and I both went to that one. That one was pretty incredible
Awesome.
what we were able to do, and that was kind of the first sign of okay, well, I think we might have something here. That's pretty good.
Pause right there, Hunter, real quick. After that game, me and you said we will not go to more fun basketball game this season than that. And boy, were we wrong.
We were wrong.
I would also throw out the Iowa overtime where Cale Jacobson and Sam Hoiberg just took over and scored 9 straight as far as regular season.
That one was big. I think that the Illinois road game with the Jamarcus Lawrence shot and the Kent Pavelka near heart attack, that was pretty awesome. The Michigan State, as we just cracked the top 25 and play a top 10 team at home, you storm the court afterwards. I think that was a huge game there on that Saturday. Yeah, just there are countless moments this year that you forget.
Whoa! Beating BYU in the exhibition.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean that's
BYU ended up not being as good as
that. Probably cracks maybe the top 10, but like
Bear case triple double is higher than that.
It's an exhibition game. That was what it was. So again, lots of moments. Enjoy the year. It'll be one that we'll probably never forget. So that being said,
I'm gonna be straight up with you. I about cried when they lost to Iowa. I about did.
Well, you do cry at a lot of things. So
there was a lot of.
There was. I get you, Dak. I hear.
There were a lot of people that had the same reaction. So I mean,
there was a lot of. Yeah.
It's the last time you're going to see Sam Hoiberg, and I get it. Did you guys watch the locker room talk with Fred after?
Very good. Yep, very good.
Yeah,
we can all agree.
Great year.
We can all agree, though. Thank God Thursday games are over for a while. I don't need another Thursday like that for for my body. But
I've had several in a row too, so it's been it'll be good to have a full week back here, I guess.
Yeah. It feels like a blur the last 2 weeks. It really does.
Before we get to football, and we'll finish up with football, I do want to shout out here and mention the Husker baseball and softball teams, the success they're having. I went to one game against Michigan State for the baseball team. I've watched a couple of the softball games. I watched the other night the UCLA game on Friday night, where we won by 1. UCLA was a top 10 team. We are now up in the softball rankings to number 4 in the country, just behind Texas, Texas Tech, and Oklahoma. So softball team's doing a lot of really good things right now. I mean, the highest that they've been in a long time. I don't know, have we ever been this highly ranked in softball?
I have no idea.
I would guess not. And baseball teams in the top 25 as well, sitting at number 19. They are playing Creighton as we speak right now.
Bottom of the 6th, and Nebraska's up 6-0.
So Creighton's not having the best of years, but Nebraska's we're doing some good things on the field in both baseball and softball. And I think, when it comes to postseason and unlike basketball and football, baseball and softball, those seasons fly by like crazy.
I know. I just looked
Yeah.
up the softball record, and I could not believe that they're 26-6 already. Like
It's
wow,
because you
that
play so
is
many games and your first 20 or your first 15, you don't play at home because it's too
right.
cold. So you're
Yeah.
playing on the road. And they're already into Big Ten play here, both teams. Both teams' goals here, obviously is going to be hosting a regional, which goes to the top 16 seeds in the country. Softball's obviously well inside that mark. Baseball's climbing to get there, and winning your conference tournament, which we've done the past 2 years for baseball, really does help that. And I think we're in a good position right now to do so. Just got to keep building. I think the pitching is, from what I've been reading and hearing, has been the big improvement from last year to this year, and figuring out a good rotation. The bullpen's been a lot better. Like I said, our goal is to probably to host a regional. If you can do that, you like your chances with the Husker crowd at Haymarket Park and at a Bowling Stadium, and then you see where it goes from there. Huskers have not made the College World Series in quite some time. I heard some
Could you
people.
imagine?
I heard some people talk about the Oklahoma City game and comparing it to Husker moments, and the people that were alive in the '90s. A couple of those games, and then the other one that I heard a lot was the College World Series appearance that the Huskers made in the early
2000.
2000s. So I think that that's one of those things that it's a sport that I think most people would say baseball is not the most fun sport to watch, but it's one of those things that you can really fill a stadium and have some fun. It's more laid back. I'm thinking back to the Big Ten championship in Omaha. How many years ago that was? Is that just 2 years ago that we filled that stadium?
Yeah.
I think last year maybe it was colder or something. It wasn't. I can't remember what the
It
situation
was really
was.
cold. Yeah.
But there's one 2 years ago. I remember going up there and the championship game was there, and that stadium. I remember going to it for $60 a ticket and got in. It was just packed. So again, it is exciting stuff going on there for those two programs. Something to continue to follow along here over the next couple of months.
I think we can officially say we're not a football school.
That's what I was just saying. We got volleyball, baseball, softball, basketball, men's, women's.
Apparently, our women's bowling's really good.
Women's bowling, they've historically always been really good. So the only program that is not doing any sort of national performance here is the one that has the most money.
Well, let's go there then. Let's finish off this pod here talking about football. Here's my opening comment on the football program right now, and we haven't talked about them at all, really, for the last several weeks or months since the Las Vegas Bowl lost to Utah. I think, and whether people want to admit it or not, apathy is setting in for a lot of people at various stages. Apathy is not something that all of a sudden you just care a bunch and then you stop caring. That's not what happens. But everyone's at a different stage in their care or their interest level of Husker football. And when you say apathy, it's not if you are still talking about it and you're still upset about it and you're still emotionally invested about it, you don't have apathy. Apathy is truly the lack of caring about something, and you're just, it doesn't provide you with any emotion one way or the other. I think that's setting in and is impacting a lot more people this year than previous years. And yes, the spring game, you see the numbers and the lowest spring game total since 2000. But I'm not talking about that whole thing. I'm just talking about the general interest right now of the success of the football program and the conversation around it. Basketball has had a very big impact on that. Many media writers, sports writers, where all they would talk about in February and March are basketball is kind of over. Well, let's move on to spring football. On top of that, spring football started the earliest it's ever started. We're already done with it, and it's not even April. I just think that there's just this goes to speak to how many of us watch the spring game, let alone go to it. Like
Right.
Part of that, yeah, 2 days after the Iowa lost in the Sweet 16, that probably has a lot to do with it. Just people are kind of tired and worn out, but at the same time, it's just like, okay,
We don't care.
just,
Yeah.
it's apathy. It's not complete apathy. It's not like I've completely disabandoned Husker football, but like I almost forgot to renew my season tickets. I got a text reminder on the last day that says your season ticket renewal, today's your last day. If you don't do it now, your tickets will be released. I'm like, oh crap. Like I just completely forgot about it. And yes, I renewed my season tickets, but it was one of those things that it wasn't like I was on top of it. I have been in previous years. It's a level of apathy that I just is setting in a little bit.
I mean, I didn't even remember. I didn't even know this. I like not even like, oh, I didn't know the spring game was going on this weekend. I did not know the spring game was happening last weekend until like Tuesday. Like they're like, oh, we go to the spring game. Like, what are you talking about, man? Basketball plays on Thursday. Like I agree.
And yes, we can't do this because it didn't happen this way, but let's try to take basketball out of it and picture your interest level of the conversation. Right? It was when nobody's talking about it and there's something else going on that becomes as important because of the excitement around it. Naturally, yeah, you're going to put something like it to the back seat. Like that's even if we were coming off a top 25 season, football in the spring would have gotten put on the back seat because of what basketball did.
Yeah.
To a certain extent. But now it's like again, you talk about the only reason why I know anything about our spring is because I've listened to a couple of podcasts that are now catching up on football because they haven't been talking about it. And so now I'm familiarizing myself with where everything's at, which is not making me happy because it's just a bunch of bullshit coming back. So that's all fun. But anyway, I think that's a thing to note. Like Dak, I obviously basketball is going on, but like you always wanted to love to go to the spring game, and you even got asked to go to the spring game, and you're like, nope, not a chance.
See, I like the spring game festivities. It's usually a lot of fun going out and around the town on a spring game. It's like it feels like a normal Saturday spring game, or not spring game, normal Saturday fall football game, usually for a spring game. But I saw videos and stuff downtown. There was nobody down there. Nobody like celebrating. I forgot it was even on Saturday. Someone's like, you watch the spring game, it was like noon. I'm like, no one's at start. Forgot it started at 11, but yeah, it's like, and truly, I did not care at all to even think about or football, and that has a lot to do with basketball. And I have thought about that. What if basketball wasn't doing this? Would people been in on the spring game or been in on the football team right now? I don't. I think the hype would have been a lot more, but like you said, I think there's a lot of people just kind of out of football in general right now. And it's a prove it right now.
Yeah, I don't. It also part of it is
spring game thoughts. Like what are some of your guys? You didn't watch it, but what are some of your takeaways or thoughts, if you even have any, from the spring game?
Um,
God, I really got to pull some strings here for. Okay, Dak, talk to me about Anthony Calandria. What are your thoughts on Anthony Calandria?
I think he's going to be electric. He's gonna he's gonna throw a lot of picks this season. He is, but he's gonna throw a lot of because he doesn't give a crap where he throws that ball. It's gonna be exciting, and it's gonna be like, what are you doing for a lot of the season? And I do think he's gonna be a good quarterback. Now, what I do like, which is going to come back to bite me, is the old line looks big this year. And I heard a little bit coming in the spring game, like, oh, they're big and they're physical. They do look bigger than normal. Now, I'm not trying to get any hype going, but that's one takeaway I thought was the old line looks bigger. You can't take away from the spring game, but I thought they looked bigger this year. Now we'll see.
I mean, yeah, Calandria was 12 for 19 for however many yards with 1 interception and 2 touchdowns. Again, we talked about it every spring game. It's like, well, is that because our defense is good, or is our offense bad, or this there could be a middle ground where we're not good at either, and we're playing ourselves. So it's a mediocre offense against mediocre defense. I mean, I feel like the big takeaway was just the running backs and who was getting the carries and who you saw. I mean, hadn't even heard of Jamal Rule until the spring game, and now he sounds like he's
Is
actually
he
going to have
is he related to Matt Rule?
no H.
Okay.
Did I have you convinced that he was his cousin or his nephew? Because I told you that.
I truly did not know.
And also, they weren't tackling the quarterbacks, and Calandria is supposed to be this mobile quarterback, but he had like 15 yards, 12 of them were on one run. So I don't know. I will say, I looked up a list of spring game attendance, and this article is from 2023. So, but the lowest one, excluding ones that were limited due to COVID, was 50 some thousand, 54,000, 55,000. And we had 20,000 on Saturday.
Yeah.
So,
And what's funny about that whole thing, Calandria mentioned how many people were
Jesus.
there for a spring game. Like he thought it was awesome how many people were there. So that's what he's used to, right? Like the types of games that he's played in. He's one of those guys that the call it the pressure, the Big Ten. Like he's gonna do what he's gonna do just because of, from what we know, he's a risk taker, and he's high risk, high reward, and I heard someone call him a gunslinger. Like there's pros and cons to that, right? We had the extreme version of that with Jeff Sims, and there wasn't many pros. We'll put it that way. With how he turned out. Now, obviously, I you hope and you think that Calandria is going to turn out a lot better than Jeff Sims did at Nebraska. But I do think that's what you're going to get with him. The big takeaway for me, for the little bit that I watched, I watched moments of it, and it caught my eye enough for me to be like, what the heck are we doing? And then I've heard people talk about it, is the tempo that we showed and some of the no huddle, hurry up style offense that we ran in that first half, especially with a couple of with Calandria and Latif. That always scares me.
Gives your opponents a lot of time to score.
That's not the style of football that I think that we need to be playing.
Nope.
I don't want to say it, but I'll go back to our good old friends to the East. Like, I love the way Iowa plays football, and it's not pretty, but guess what? It gets them winning games every year, 8 or 9 wins. And once you get to that point, then I think you can take that as a base and build off of it, even though Iowa's never done that. They've stayed there forever. But I do think that wins you a lot of games, how their basketball team was built this year and got them to where they did. Just that's the Midwestern ugly, farm tough way of winning games. And I don't think running a no huddle hurry up offense fits that DNA. Now, I'm not saying it can't work. It obviously has had success in years. We've also had the conversation though, why it's kind of gone away. Like it was a trend. It was a fad there for a while where everybody was doing it. And the last couple of years, how many teams are running the true no huddle offense?
Not many
left.
No one. Yeah.
So, no, it's not something that I expect us. We're going to run it as our base, but it is good to have it in and work. Maybe the thought process is being optimistic is work at it now in the spring so that when you need it in a 3-minute situation when you're down a touchdown, you got to go to it and you practice it a lot, and that's what we're doing now in the spring. Maybe that's the thought concept there, and I think that's a good one to have. But that caught my eye. I did like the format of it where you couldn't tell, you're playing your ones, your twos, your 4 strings, like who's Nebraska, who's Huskers. I mean, I don't know, who don't really care. It's hard to judge offense, defense, one way or the other. based off of that, you just start to maybe see and hear names of people that you're going to expect to hear in the fall.
I mean, if you look at that was probably the most interesting. I shouldn't say most interesting thing, but aside from the running back room, you kind of got an idea of who right now they expect who would be their starters right now. And we had the 3 offensive lineman transfers. Like the offensive line that was our starting offensive line that we saw for whatever team.
And you don't think that probably will change, right? There's other guys that could give them a push, but you have a pretty good idea if you're going to pay money and get these guys from the portal. You're probably going to start them, especially guys that aren't freshmen or sophomore. They're guys coming in with experience at some major schools. Black from Iowa State, Babalade from South Carolina. Who's the other one?
Mabenga.
Yep. Like I think there's guys that those guys are expected to play. Pritchett's going to come back in and play. So yeah, I think take away what you want from the line play. I think that's something that will just continue to hammer home of the offensive line and then the defensive line, which we haven't talked about either, right? How important that is in not just the Big Ten, but just in football in general. And getting guys to have success on those 2 areas first, because all the conversation is going to be around the skill players, the quarterback, the running backs, what receivers do we got? It's going to start in the trenches, no matter what offense, no matter what defense you're running. And if you don't have those pieces, no matter what you're trying to do, you're going to be playing from behind because you're going to try to mask up what's the lack there up front. So if you can be at least solid at minimum, if not above average or really good in the trenches, then yeah, you can start to do some different things in the back half. But that's where it's going to begin with. And yeah, I don't want to hype anybody up or hype it up as sounds like we're bigger. That bigger doesn't always mean better on the line play. That's true. It can, but it doesn't always mean that either.
That and the defensive people, it was like all new names. It felt like there was hardly anyone that got significant snaps from last year outside of Cam Lenhart. It felt like him, Riley Van Poppel, I guess. But
I'll tell you what, no one walks out of that game hyped about TJ Lateef. This is at least when I tuned in. He's 1 of 5 at half. That's horrific in a spring game.
Man, Dak, you really 180 on TJ.
What do you mean?
This has been a 1-year experience.
What do you mean?
Last spring game, you're like, that TJ Lateef guy might be pushing Raiola for his starting position. Then all season, you're like, what are we going to put TJ Lateef in? And then he starts against UCLA and goes 11 for 12. You're like, oh man, this TJ. And then this man's not seeing. I'm telling you right now, he's not starting a game where we don't have an injured starter in his career at Nebraska. Calling it right now.
Wow. I mean, here's my feeling about the football team right now is I am so out on Rule. I don't know where you guys sit with him. Like, you guys are out on Hoiberg. Like, should we keep? I think I'm totally out on him. No matter, he has to win 8 or 9 games next year, and it has to do a lot that he's so full of shit in his press conference and stuff, saying that this team's he's the best car salesman you'll ever meet. He will sell you on anything. This team's great. Blah 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 blah. You know what? You want my Rule? Shut up and go play.
I will say this too. And I think this is a very true thing. One of the things that I think has hurt our football program is the attention and the focus and the pressure, the expectations, all that gets thrown on you by media, fan base, both nationally and locally. And your expectation to go out and perform.
It doesn't hurt Alabama.
What's great about it this year, and I think this is a big part of when you can play the underdog card and the role in the locker room and have that as your mantra. I do think you can get a lot out of your players, and that's, I think, a part of the basketball team's success. There's little to no expectations every year coming in with that team, and they can play that card. Nobody expects us to this, and this. And you heard Fred say that several times, right? If we can kind of flip that and the football team kind of start doing that. Now, the only way you can be an underdog is if people doubt you and don't believe that you can do that. That's the problem at Nebraska. no one usually doubts us because we all talk ourselves up and we think we're going to be really good. And so then there's hype and then there's attention. With the basketball season team doing what they did, like we said, there's no hype. There's very little talk. You are all doing everything under the radar. In fact, with the spring game being even earlier, which I think I've heard that maybe was part of a real strategy, is to try to get everything done early to try to stay under the radar, right? Like the optimism and hope is maybe he's kind of starting to figure that out, just to shut the hell up and quit blabbering your mouth about this and this and this and just perform and win. Like maybe if we want to look at it with an optimistic side, that is what's happening in the football program right now. And I will say will lead to success. And that I hope that's what a lesson was learned here over the last couple of months, maybe not. But then that makes you say, well, why doesn't he do that all the time? Well, like you said, Dak, I think he's a used car salesman. That's what he likes to do. That's how he likes to be. But maybe he learned, okay, we can't do that. Like, that's not going to work. Like it's now or never. We got to put our heads down and work our ass off. And I'm with you, right? Like if we can't turn the corner here soon, very soon as in this year, it's going to be hard to continue to really back the guy and support the vision that he has for the program. Before you want to try something else, try something new, try a young pup that has some life to him. That'd be my preference. I don't know if we'll ever do that. So I don't know, like not out on Matt, but it's times slim here with what you got to get done, and the schedule's not in your favor either next year. You got some things to prove that things are going in the right way for you.
I personally hope we hire Mike McCarthy next year. I think that's the fresh face that we need.
God. Oh God.
You should have seen Dak and my face. We were both like, there's no way he's serious.
All right, I'm gonna go puke real quick. I'll be back. I mean, I hate him because he's a old Packers salesman. But anyway, yeah, I do hope it works out for Rule, just because I don't think he's a douchebag or anything. I think I'm just tired of hearing him hype up the team every year like we're gonna be this great stuff. And I think fans are finally now, okay, ask me in August, July, August, fans are gonna be all over it. But right now, fans are actually not hyped up. Like they're not believing it for once. There's no one's drinking the Kool-Aid yet.
Well, and I think that's like we said, that's a natural response of the basketball team being really good and them nobody knowing anything about them yet. Like we said, this is our first time kind of hearing about everything and our first chance to even know who the players are in an era of the transfer portal and NIL where, you're going to see new faces year in and year out until something changes. Like there's going to be a lot of new things, and you're going to be able to, if you want to, drink the Kool-Aid on these new teams and faces because they're new. You don't know what to expect. So you can be as excited as you want on every single one of them. Like you're going to be able to do that if you want to as a fan. And we're the best at it at Nebraska in the media of doing that. So like I said, you're right, Dak. I don't know when it comes, but I think people also know the schedule that we're at. And I think people also are not forgetting how the season ended last year with some pretty bad losses in some pretty bad ways too, the way those losses happened. So I do think that that's all going to be, time will tell. It's not like the football team's done now and isn't coming back till July, right? They're still doing stuff from now until July. They might have a little bit of break, but they're going to be still off-season training and everything that they do. And I'm sure we'll hear stuff about that as we go. So.
No, yeah. It just sucks basketball's over because now we got to listen to the freaking hype train the rest of the summer.
I'm excited.
If you want to, you don't have to.
It hasn't taken off yet, but give it a couple months. It'll be all aboard the hype train.
Do you guys remember Chasing 3 and how it ended halfway through a year because it's like, oh, we're not going to get it.
Yeah.
It is. It's funny. There's so many things, Austin. I'm glad you brought that up. Like that are such an awesome thing and are such a like, this is great. And then they stop and nobody talks about it because it's like nobody's like, oh shit, that was stupid. Like
Yeah.
that Matt Rule's podcast, right? Like there's
Oh
so many
God,
little
I forgot
things
about that.
Is House Rules still going on?
I have
Couldn't
no
tell you.
idea. People don't know. There's so many things that everybody gets so excited about. And it's like, this is the greatest thing ever. And this is, and then when something goes away, they like say, okay, I'm embarrassed I said that. I'm not even going to talk about it anymore. Or they just completely forget because all they do is consume what's out there. And when they go away, they go away.
Speaking
Let's
of away, stay
see.
away from the basketball team, Matt Rule.
Yeah.
Their season finale, House Rules season finale, happened in December. So I don't know if that was the series or just the season.
Hopefully the series.
4.9 rating though, out of 209 ratings. People love Coach Rule.
People love Coach Rule. Dak, would you give it? Go give it a rating.
Probably 0, and I haven't even listened to it yet. God, he
He
just
can
pisses me
talk
off.
though.
He can.
Yeah, he can talk.
Good, definitely a good speaker. And I think if you do it the right way, that can help your program. But it also can hurt in various ways too. So
There's one more player I want to talk about spring game. Ja'Cory Barney looks electric. He does.
He always has.
Yeah, he's going to be a big weapon this year. I do think that.
If they actually use him, last year.
attaboy,
Yeah.
Dak. Just start drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah. All right, I'll shut up. All right, good season, boys. See you later.
Listen, you know what's going to happen is we're talking now, but by the time August rolls around, we're going to be so excited for college football.
I know.
We're going to be slurping up the content. But we're going to, it'll be a little through a pessimistic lens, but we're going to be watching it all and be like, did you guys see that press conference? But we watched it.
Yeah, as far as to bring the whole conversation full circle into the apathy and everything too. There's going to be interest when there's nothing going on in the month of July, like there never is every year, that you're just waiting for college football to start back up again. And I will say, obviously, Nebraska football is a big piece of that for all of us, considering we're doing a podcast on it. So, yeah, we're going to listen to that and be a lot more attentive into it. But I think everybody's frames and lenses are going to be a little bit different listening to it. And I think that Coach Rule is smart enough to understand that too. I listened to him in the spring game a little bit. I think his selling is a little bit different. I got a little different tone from him than what we've heard in the past. So we'll just see what happens here. Like I said, over the next few months here, as we take some time off, and we'll be back in the fall for season 8, where we're going to be doing things a little bit differently here on the podcast. We'll be doing a daily podcast versus doing our twice a week episode. Try to keep it short, keep it sweet to a specific topic or a point. It may be all 3 of us, maybe one of us, 2 of us at a time, but we will be having a daily podcast out there for you to listen to on your drive to work, your 8 a.m. at the office, during your workout. I don't know where else people listen to podcasts.
Where's the weirdest place you've listened to a podcast? That's the better question.
I mean, I do it now at the grocery store. Like,
yeah,
put a headphone in while you're getting groceries. Like I do that now sometimes, and so there's so many out there. A lot of content, especially Husker sports. A lot of Husker podcasts out there. So
I can't wait for the hype train when we start 5-0 and then Indiana comes to Lincoln, and we get our ass just smoked. And I'll be all aboard the hype train too. I know I will be, but I'm gonna try not to this year. We'll see.
All right, that'll wrap up season 7. Have a good summer. Go Big Red.
GBR.
Go Big Red.